Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And thank you, thank you, thank you for saying yes. I'm going to repeat that. Thank you for saying yes. You're saying yes to yourself. You're saying yes to your life. And you're saying yes to possibility. What is possible for the rest of your life? So welcome and thank you for saying yes. For those of you that don't know, my name is Tom Zuba. With the creation of autocorrect, I always get a laugh when someone puts my name in a post as Tom Zuba and it comes up as Tom Zumba. I'm old enough to remember the days when Zumba wasn't around, and I get a kick out of thinking if someone is looking for me or looking for my book and they put in Tom Zumba, where that actually takes them. So again, I'm Tom Zuba. For those of you that don't know, I'm a life coach. I work with folks all over the world, one-on-one, using usually FaceTime, but sometimes Zoom. I've also written 2 books. The book that I want to focus on and I want you to focus on is my first book. And it is called Permission to Mourn. Permission to Mourn. It's available at Amazon. It's $12. And I don't know how Amazon does this, but it seems like it's always sold at a reduced price. And every day the price is different. So it's $12 minus something for you if you buy it on Amazon. Again, it's called Permission to Mourn. And the subtitle is A New Way to Do Grief. A New Way to Do Grief. I have a client who I've been working with for a long time. And the other day she said something to me. She said, Tom, you forget you have to repeat the same thing over and over and over again for me to remember it, for it to actually sink in. Don't forget, it's hard for me to concentrate. So again, I wrote a book. My book is called Permission to Mourn. It's available at Amazon. My friend Christy just posted, it's a great book. If you're not sure whether or not it is a great book and whether or not you should read it, go to Amazon and read the reviews. Read what over 1,000 people who've read the book have to say. Or if you've read the book and you're comfortable, put a 1 sentence in the comments and let folks know what you think about the book, how the book has affected you. Again, for those of you that don't know me, in 1990, some of you may not have been born yet, but in 1990, my 18-month-old daughter, Erin, died really, really suddenly. That was 35 years ago. So I have been living with this thing called grief for 35 years. And when I think about what the world was like 35 years ago, there was no internet that I was aware of, not available to the masses. There was no social media. There were very, very few support groups. There were very, very few national organizations that supported those of us living with grief. And there were very few books. There were very, very few resources. And we each kind of did it on our own. We stumbled through. Now, in the last 35 years, I would say that a lot has changed, but a lot hasn't changed. A lot hasn't changed, particularly in the way we do grief. In the way we do grief, so much hasn't changed. Many of us still do it by ourselves. One of the downsides, I think, about social media, Facebook, Instagram, etc., is things are shared about grief that just don't resonate for me. It's important for me to say, I'm going to tell you what's true for me, and if that resonates with you, hallelujah. If it doesn't, that's okay. Maybe the next thing I say will resonate, or the next thing I say will resonate. But there's this belief out there that every single one of us experiences grief differently, that we experience grief differently. And I will say over and over again, and I can say it because I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of people individually, in small groups, in large groups. We have so much more in common as we experience grief than we know. We have more in common. I have more in common with my grief. It's similar to how you're experiencing your grief, and you're experiencing your grief, and you're experiencing your grief. And my hope is there can be something comforting about that. We are not alone. We're not actually alone in this. So that's one, this notion that everyone experiences grief differently. That hasn't been my experience at all. Another thing, and I just saw it on Facebook today, a grief group was sharing this. Time heals all wounds. Time heals all wounds. That is not true. Time alone does not heal all wounds. It's what we do with our time that's going to determine whether or not we heal. And then this has been exploding over the last couple of years. Today, I saw 2 sponsored ads on Facebook to become a certified grief coach. And they make me laugh, but they also make me cry. The first one said, you can become a certified grief coach by going through these 9 modules. And each module would take about 1 hour. So after spending 9 hours learning about grief, you would become a certified grief coach. And what really caught my eye was the second module is the stages of grief. The stages of grief. And I posted a comment and I said, it's 2025. There are no orderly, predictable stages of grief. There aren't. There simply aren't. That was one. The second grief coach certificate program said you could complete it in 14 days and there were only 3 spots left. So act quickly. Someone's going to work on this for 14 days and then they're going to say to you or you or you, I'm certified and I'm able to help you. Be careful. Be careful. If it doesn't resonate with you, if it feels like there's red flags, trust your gut. Trust your gut. So what I want to talk about is this concept of what if. I wrote about it the other day. What if? What if? Think about this. What if, as little children, we were taught that there was this thing called grief. You know, that when we had a dream for how something was going to unfold and it didn't work out that way, we might experience grief. If we loved our dog and our dog died, if we weren't picked for a team and we felt bad, if a friend of ours moved away or we were going to move away and start in a new school, if we didn't get in the same classroom as our best friend, what if we were taught that, hey, you know, there's this thing called grief, and grief is natural, grief is normal, everybody experiences it, and grief is here for a time. It's not a death sentence. It's not going to be as pronounced and as bold and as loud as it is in the beginning. What if we were taught, what if we were taught that grief was normal and natural? What if we were taught that grief would last for a time? It would last for a time. And that time would vary from person to person, and it would vary greatly based on what was the root cause of the current grief. What if? What if we were taught that grief is very, very different from mourning? What if we were taught that everybody experiences grief, but not everyone is willing or able, for whatever reasons, to mourn? And what if we were taught that mourning is actually the path to healing? Pamela said, grief should be normalized. Yes, and that is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to talk about what I call a new way to do grief. What if, as children, we had been taught, or what if we taught our own children, that when we're living with this thing we call grief, we might feel confused? Anyone listening feel confused? What if we feel sad? Or we feel anxious? Or we might even begin to feel desperate? What if we were taught from an early age that this is normal? This is natural. And this is temporary. We don't have to experience this for the rest of our life. We can if we so choose, but we don't have to. What if we were taught that it's okay to be angry and frightened and lonely? That's part of grief. What if we were taught that we might actually start to feel nauseous? We might feel like we're going to throw up. We might throw up. And that's part of grief. What if we feel numb? What if we feel dazed or dizzy at times? We're walking around and all of a sudden we fall because we feel really, really dizzy. What if we're taught that grief, it's all of that and it's a lot more? That grief is confusing and it's frustrating. And you know what? No matter how old we are, at times grief might even feel scary. Say yes if the grief you're experiencing or you've experienced actually scared you, actually frightened you, because you weren't sure exactly what it is that was going on. And what if we were taught at an early age that grief would manifest, would show up in physical ways? That there might be times when all we wanted to do is eat and eat and eat and eat. And at other times, we couldn't eat. We weren't hungry. We didn't have any appetite at all. And what if we were taught that sometimes all we wanted to do is sleep and sleep and sleep? And that if we wanted to stay in our bed with the covers pulled up because we felt safe and warm and protected, that that was okay? What if we were taught that that was okay? But we had to be careful because there might be other times when we couldn't sleep. We couldn't sleep at all. What if we were taught that this was normal and this was natural and it was part of being human? Think about it. Feel about it. Would that change your experience today? If all that I said had been true for you, do you think that that would change what you are experiencing today, how you are responding to what you are experiencing today? And to me, this is the most important part. What if you were taught it's okay to tell everyone and anyone what's going on, how you're feeling, what you're thinking? You don't have to keep this a secret. You don't have to pretend like there's something wrong with you. You don't have to keep this private. It's okay to share whatever you want to share, because the people that love you, they don't move away from you. They move closer into you. They will hold you if you want to be held. They will cry with you if you want to cry. They will just sit with you. We don't have to say anything. I'll just sit on the bench with you. I'll walk with you. I'll even hold your hand if that feels good. I'll come over to your house and sleep on the sofa if that feels good. What if the people that were older than us, the people that had experienced more life, knew exactly how we were feeling? Not only that, but they knew how they could help us. They knew that if they created a safe, sacred space for us, if they created a safe, sacred space where we could be exactly who we are, where we could be honest, where we could say everything, where nothing was off limits. What if they could help us feel seen and heard and honored exactly as we are? And what if they reminded us over and over and over again that what we're going through is normal, what we're going through is natural, that we're not going crazy? What if we had people in our lives who could create this safe, sacred space for us, where we could be exactly who we are, where we could mourn, where we could mourn? There are many definitions of grief and mourning out there. I'm not saying to anyone that the way I define grief and mourning is the right way. What I am saying is it's a way that works for me. And it might be a way that will work for you because it gives me an action plan. It helps me feel less helpless and hopeless. So I define grief as what's happening inside of me. What's happening inside of me. I feel confused. I feel angry. I feel sad. I feel lonely. I feel all of those things on the inside. I wrote about it in the first book, in Permission to Mourn. I think the chapter is called The Complexity of Grief, something like that. And as I said earlier, if we're in a safe, sacred space, folks, if you've taken one of my classes, you've experienced this. But when we're in a safe, sacred space and we can be honest and raw and vulnerable, and we can share what we're feeling, we're amazed at the number of people that go, me too, me too. I experienced that. Yes, I experienced that. If you didn't listen to the Facebook Live from a week ago tonight, in the comments, there's person after person after person saying, yes, that was me. Yes, that was me. Yes, that was me. That was me. So grief is what happens on the inside. Grief is what's occurring inside, and it's often surprising. And it's confusing. It's something we never, ever talk about. But it's part of being human. It's actually part of being human. Every single human being grieves. Every single human being grieves over big things or seemingly small things. Although they might not be small things to the person who's experienced it. So everybody grieves. Not everyone mourns. Not everyone mourns. But mourning is the path to healing. Mourning is when I can identify what's going on inside of me. When I identify what's going on inside of me and I push it up and I get it out. When I push it up and I get it out. What if we were taught that? What if we were taught as kids that it's okay to cry? Crying is good. Crying is healing. Crying is a way you're getting the crap inside of you up and out. Crying is good. Talking is good. Talk, 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 and I will listen. I will listen. I will listen. Writing is good. If you journal, write about it. Today I am feeling like crap. I hate my life. I am in so much emotional and spiritual and physical pain. When is this going to end? That's healthy. Don't keep it in. I would much rather you put it on the page than keep it in your body. As a child, I would say, draw me a picture. Draw me what it is you're feeling like today. What does that look like? What does that look like? What color would you pick? Black. That's healthy, that's healthy, that's healthy. Screaming, yelling at the top of your lungs, as long as you don't yell at someone. Going on the floor and pounding, 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 pounding. It's a way to release that energy. It's a way to release that grief energy. What if, what if, what if? What if? What if we were each taught that grief is a normal, natural part of life. That's what I'm trying to share with you today. Believe me, my daughter died 35 years ago. My wife died 30 years ago. My son died 20 years ago. I have been doing this for a long, long, long time. Grief is a normal way of being. I promise you, whatever you're experiencing, it's normal. Grief is a normal way of being. It doesn't have to last for the rest of your life. The way you're feeling today, it can soften. You can be happy again. You can smile again. You can experience joy again. You can sing and you can dance. How do I know? From experience. I'm speaking from experience. So I want you to take two things away from today. Thank you for saying yes. Say yes as often as you can. Say yes. Say yes to the little things. The little things that might make you happy. Today was a beautiful, sunny, warm day. We didn't even need a winter coat. I said yes to going out for a walk, a long walk. I said yes to being in the sun. I noticed, that's a great, Pamela said, what about guilt over happiness? It's a great question. It would take me 3 weeks to address, but I will address it. I will address it in 20 minutes. What about guilt of happiness? If anyone else has any questions that you would want me to address in a later Facebook Live, put them in the comments and I will. Promise, promise, promise. What was I saying? Oh, I was saying something important. It couldn't have been that important. Can't remember. Your question was more important. What about guilt after happiness? Oh, yes. Say yes. Say yes. When I was walking my neighbors across the street, 2 houses down, I noticed in their brown lawn, all of our lawns are brown here in the Midwest, there were gorgeous, tiny little purple and white and yellow crocuses popping up, popping up, popping up, popping up. I said yes to them. They're beautiful. I said yes to the robins. There's robins everywhere here. I'm saying yes to them. They make me happy. They make me smile. Try to say yes. Try to say yes. If you have little Post-it notes, right? Say yes on the Post-it note. Put one on your laptop. Put one on your refrigerator. Put one on your bathroom mirror. Put one over the sink. Put one on the dashboard of your car. Say yes, say yes, say yes. And then, this is new, but I like it. Ask yourself, what if? What if? What if there's something of value in this book and I read the reviews on Amazon and I saw people make comments here? What if I read it? And then what if I read it again? And then what if I read it again and again? What if? What if I told myself that grief is normal and grief is natural and there's really nothing unique or special about what I'm going through, that this is part of being human, but it's a way of being for a period of time. It doesn't have to be my way of being for the rest of my life. What if, what if, what if? Christine, you must be new to me because you wrote a question that I hear all the time. What happens if I feel guilty about not saving my dad? If you're really, really interested, come back to this Facebook page, scroll down. I have answered that question over and over and over again. I'll answer it again. It's a phenomenal question. It's not unique to you, but I can't answer it tonight. So say yes, say yes, say yes. What if, what if, what if? If you are looking for a safe, sacred space where you can be exactly who you are, where you can mourn completely, where you can feel seen, heard, and honored, and you're interested in learning more about coaching with me one-on-one, send me an email. I'm at tomzuba@aol.com. It's my name, tomzuba, Z-U-B-A, @aol.com. Tell me you'd like more information. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So I'm wrapping up. I am wrapping up. I want to thank each of you for being with us tonight. If you found value in the half an hour that we spent together and you know other people that might benefit, either share it on your Facebook page or tag them so they'll see it. Again, if you have questions that you would like me to address in a further Facebook Live, put them in the comments. I will. I am going to be live again this Thursday, this coming Thursday, which is the 20th. I'm going to do 6:30 p.m. again because I heard from folks that said they're not available on Tuesdays. So I'm going to do it this Thursday, 6:30 p.m. again. If there's folks you want to invite, let them know. This video is going to be on my Facebook page. I think Facebook only keeps them up for about 30 days now. I do not know why. If you want to come back, listen to it again, or like I said, if there's someone you know who would benefit, let them know. Okay? Take really, really, really good care of yourself. Really, really good care of yourself. I'm glad we spent this time together. Say yes and ask yourself, what if? What if? What if? Okay? Take good care. I'll see you soon.